welcome to the Book Over. I'm Sarah, and with me is Megan.
Hello.
And today we are doing some hockey with benefits.
Mm-hmm.
By Tijan. I was really excited when I found out that this was, I'm going to say her name's Mara, like Sarah, but Mara. Mara?
Yeah, I think with the name, like different people pronounced it differently. I said Mara too.
Okay, in my head I said Mara.
I think so too.
Okay. So I was really excited because I knew as soon as I read Mara's name that she was the person that was hooking up with Blaze and Rich Prick. So I got really excited because I love getting more characters' stories. And then I got even more excited because, and I didn't look this up, so I could be totally wrong, but in Aviki or an Avik, I always say Aviki, but it might be just Avik.
I think it's
which
Avik.
is Zeke, who I love.
Yeah.
And I've been telling everybody, I'm like, I have hashtag Zeke's #1 fangirl. Like, that's my t-shirt. It's totally a Zeke thing. I love Zeke, and his novella mentions all these sports teams that he loves, like Blaze's soccer team and Mason's
You
team.
mentioned this at the time.
At the time he mentioned the team that Cutler's on, which is from Not an Outcast. And then another team, and I'm like, what team is this? I couldn't figure out, and they never explained like why he likes this other hockey team. Cruise.
And you knew, you thought that was a hint to another book. You thought that at the time.
I was wondering if it would be another book. Yeah. And it is. And I'm so excited.
So I love that it's part of the Fallen Crest crew, Rich Prick world, like, and how much that's kind of like jumped into other books, because you can read them not having read these other books.
Yes.
And still understand them. So especially this one, I think is good for Rich Prick. Like, if you read Rich Prick, you're good.
Yeah.
I didn't remember Mara at first because it had been so long since I read Rich Prick.
Yeah.
And I had even reread it a little. Yeah, I'd reread it a little while ago, but still. And then when you told me, I was like, then it clicked.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed
she got
that.
A full description from me in a text message.
Yes, I did. I was like, wait,
I was like,
explain.
This is so and so. Do you remember this scene in the woods? That's that person.
And as soon as you did that, it jogged my memory. So that was perfect.
Yeah.
And you don't need to know that, but it is a good redemption story. And what I like about this character is that, like, she's got issues. She's kind of like pushes people away. She's in the relationship, she's the typical, which it's very flipped, these days. Like, that's not the typical thing, but what they would call the guy back in the day, where she wanted, she just wanted to keep it separate. She just wants her hookup. She uses hooking up to cope. So this is definitely the steamiest from Tijan.
From the start.
Tijan.
I was like,
I would say it wrong. Yes. I've never seen her go so steamy and have so many scenes. Like, there were like, this is, and it made what I like is it made sense for this story. Like, it wasn't just arbitrarily like, let's put in like lots of scenes. Like, it made sense for the character.
So let's give them the smut. No, it was like, this is the storyline.
It's her coping mechanism. It's how they connected. It's how, like, it became, it's like, and it's a good, like, with benefits, kind of the friends with benefits thing, where it turns into more. And he, I liked how he just at one point was just like, you know what, no, we're not doing this anymore. Like, it's this or nothing.
Yes.
Like, you're mine.
I think that's what I really liked with Cruz was like, I mean, obviously, like, he seems like this awesome, attractive guy that's on the hockey team. Yeah. He's the star player and all this stuff. And then, like, I think pretty early in the book, we get that, like, where he's like, I'm not liking how it's just like, we're done and I go, or we're done and she goes. Yeah. Like, he was wanting that connection a little bit more. He's like, but that's not the deal. But, like, who made that deal? Like, why aren't we, and but he's like, I kind of get it. And he saw something. What I liked is, like, I think he fell and wanted more sooner, but he saw Mara the way she was and knew that he had to handle it a certain way or else it would detonate, So, like,
yes, he was patient. Really good. He was patient. Even when he said you're mine, he was still patient.
Yes. And I liked that as we learned about Cruz, like, you're like, he's got damage too. And, like, the more and more you get from him, like, okay, like, oh, he has this sister that's, like, paralyzed. Okay, like, this and
Mhm.
this and this, and then you're like, oh, he had another sister. Oh, his sister, this is why and like I was wondering, so like Mara's mom, has all
Mhm.
this like I forgot, you could probably remind us, like all this mental stuff going on. And
Yes.
she shows up at the house and they have to get her out because she's not good to be around. And he was able to handle her and he knew exactly what to do and how to handle her to get her out of the house. And during that time, I was like, how does he know? Like, how did he walk in that situation? And because I was thinking, if I walked in that situation, I wouldn't know what to do. Like, how would I rescue a friend in that situation? Oh, like I would have to be like, go in the bathroom with me. Let's have a conversation, like figure it out together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the fact that he was able to like
Yes,
take charge,
exactly.
go in there and do this, that
Mhm.
and then later on he like brings it up to her and is like, hey, you remember how I was able to handle that? Well, this is why my sister was just like her. And you're like, oh, and he's like, no, my other sister, the sister who died in a car accident
Mhm.
because she purposely went in a car accident because she was jealous. Like it was just like, whoa, whoa,
Mhm.
whoa. And then like my heart broke for him
Yeah.
because he's dealing with that. But they were just
Mhm.
good for each other on that part. Like, because then they moved
Yeah.
past that, like, we're separate, we don't
Common
talk about
ground.
things, to starting to talk about
Mhm.
things and then talking about more and a more. And then when she like was like, no more sex, and then they had to be like friends,
Mhm.
I was like,
Because she
that's
didn't want needed
great.
to cope anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's wonderful. I was so
I like that too, and we got
Mhm,
more of their relationship that way. Well,
mhm,
and I liked the plot line with her mom, and it's the reason that she is the way that she is,
mhm,
because, like, her mom and she's so scared to share and let people in
mhm,
because of this, and she has a lot of guy friends because, I don't know, I guess she didn't trust the girls coming, from her background at Ball& Crest, and she was partying a lot too. Um, so that was one thing. There were so many names that I did have a little trouble keeping track of who was who
who was
because
who?
you had what you had the hockey house, you
The
had
hockey house.
like the
There were some football
frat,
players, the
the
frat,
football
the
players,
roommates.
one roommates, swimmer. There were
There was a
and then you
lot.
had the people coming back from Falling Crest. Like you
Mhm.
had I love your
I
favorite
knew
Zeke
Zeke
was in
and
there. He was
Blaze, but Kit, when Kit
yes,
showed up, I'm like, who's this again? Yeah.
yeah, and so there was a lot of names and it just became very funny because I had to make up like ways. There was someone named Atwater who was on the hockey team,
Yes.
and somebody named like
But
Labinski, but
that's
I kept
hockey. So
saying
every last
yeah,
name in my head, I'm like, that's the last name, that's hockey.
okay. Well, I
Like
was
I was like,
like,
okay.
Atwater's is a restaurant near here. I was like, Labinski sounds like Lebowski. I was like, when I hear those two names, I'm gonna remember that they're on the team. I just felt like I needed a chart. Like I
Yes.
needed like a character. Like
Yes.
and then and now I'm wondering like who of these characters is gonna get a book. I think the girl that got hurt
So
and
Lebronsky and her, because they
yeah.
end up together at the end in the epilogue.
And but then there's another guy who was into her. There was like the
Wade.
one there was the guy who
Wade was the
was the
swimmer
brother.
who was the roommate who was into her, and they went on like one
Yeah.
party date, and then he had to cope with the fact that like she didn't really want him.
Oh, okay. Okay.
The
Well, I was
drama.
like,
There
that
was
could
so
be a
much
good
drama in this too that I was
yeah.
like, "Oh, whoa." And I get it because Mara
Mhm.
is like gonna be cautious and stuff. There were
Yeah.
moments where I was like, "Step back." But
Hmm.
like I could see it if you put yourself in her shoes and her age, because she's a
Yeah.
freshman in college. Like you're still really
Hmm.
young, and for the fact like all the things they deal with. I
Yes.
every scene Zeke was in. Can I go on my Zeke rant of how much I love Zeke?
Go
And
for it.
every scene, the moment he called or text her and he's like, tag your it, or like getting her to respond, he's like, I went, like all like his stuff. And then
Mhm.
what I loved is like Cruz, like he ended up like a Cruz fan. And then he talked to Cruz on the
Yes.
phone, and like Cruz is like, who is this
Mhm.
person? But then like when Mara went missing and Zeke was like looking for her and like checking in on her, and then Cruz called, like answered the call and was like, dude, and they talked, and he realized how much Zeke, the thing about Zeke, and if no one knows Zeke, so intense. Zeke cares. If you are his friend,
He
he is
does.
going to care for you. He's going to go to bat for you. He is going to destroy somebody for you. He
Mhm.
is by your side, near or far. He is
Ride or
the
die.
person. Like he is ride or die for the people that he cares about. and for Mara to be turn into that person for him, and for him to like, I just love that. And I love like, I love how Blaze had to show up. Oh no, how Mara had to call Blaze because he got in jail. And then like I love
Yes.
I loved how, because the way Mara and Blaze ends is a little rocky. And it was
Yeah.
and so I love that that kind of got fixed in this book too, like how like Zeke
And then
being
with
involved, Blaze
Blaze's
had to be a little bit
sister,
involved, and then Blaze's half sister was
Blaze,
involved, and so it kind
yes,
of like
Taz,
a
yeah.
lot of stuff that went down and Rich Prick kind of got, there was closure for that storyline that didn't even,
And
you don't,
yes.
it does, it's not needed, but it happens and you
Mm-hmm.
go, oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay, like that's good.
And
So
it's the character you wouldn't think of necessarily being like, hey, this character's gonna get a book. And I loved that. I love that we got to explore,
yeah.
somebody who was seen as the popular girl that was with Blaze before. Like that, I really liked
Mhm.
that. And I liked that Zeke like had said, well, like you didn't even realize it, but I've been this way since preschool. Like he's always, been there for her. And she couldn't realize it because she was so, dealing with her mom for years.
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved that. And I love that, like, Taz kept trying with her, like, until, like,
She's
the
so sweet.
walls got broken down.
I love her. She is
She
so
is.
sweet. And I love
And there
her
was a
like
lot of
telling her
people.
brother to F off about it and stuff too. Like I love when she would
Yeah.
get fishes and she's like, no. And I'm like, yes, I love you.
Yeah. I that was great. Well, and then you had the whole, like, I guess, like, like, the battle with the bad frat guy, and everyone could just tell that he had bad vibes, and he was kinda targeting her. So
Mhm.
there's suspense there, and then it, like, came to a head. Um, so you kinda had this battle with the frat house and, like, the hockey team, and, so that was, some good suspense, and that kinda leads us to get to know more about her past.
Mhm.
Um, and again,
Yeah.
that leads us to that girl who I hope gets a story. I really think that she should write like MFM or like a reverse harem. Like with the way that she was able to make Mara friends with all these guys, and you're kind of like, oh, I could kind of see her
Remember
with
there
like
was that
I
scene
think
in the
she'd be really good
kitchen
with
that
like
was such a good
developing
setup. Yeah.
the pizza with the cooking the pizza scene
But
with
I
the
can't
roommate
remember who it
who
was
just
with
wanted to be
the
your friend, but like did he?
Miller.
It was her room. It was her room. I think it was the
It
roommate.
wasn't Wade, it
I
was the
don't think
other
he.
one.
Okay, there was the one that was like from Fallen Crest, but I think he was the one in the frat. And then there was the one that was the roommate that wanted to be her friend that did kind of have a thing for her, but then like realized quickly, like, no, no, we're friends. I
Right.
think it was the roommate. And like they cooked the pizza
Yeah.
and he was like drunk.
Yeah.
And that was a cute scene,
That was a
yeah.
good scene. But yeah, I think Tijan could totally go into like a menage book. I know
That
it's
would be
scary for
cool to see
authors,
from
but like
her.
we would read that. I think she's set up things
Yeah.
where that could happen. It's just something.
Like I feel like, yeah, I feel like she would be. I just feel like she's like good with like having these different groups of people and the gut. Like I just feel like I could see her doing like a natural, like one where it kind of falls into that. I'd be interested to read that.
Yeah.
Like I'm rooting for it.
Yeah, right. Right.
But yeah, I really I enjoyed Hockey with Benefits.
I
Like
did too.
it was
And I
good, and I
thought,
can't wait to see who comes next.
right. Well, and I like her hockey.
Mm-hmm.
She has a couple of books where hockey is present in it. And I
Mm-hmm.
because oh gosh, the mafia one that she's currently writing and where they meet at a hockey game.
Mm-hmm.
Forgot the name of it.
Oh yeah,
Oh my gosh, what is it
they
called?
do meet at a hockey game.
I'm so sorry, I'm blanking on the name of this book.
Dirty something, dirty something. It's dirty something. It is.
It
You
is. I'm
don't,
trying to
you
think of what
don't
the
leave
something
me.
is.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So,
Dirty business. No.
yes. There you go. Good
Is
job.
it? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the first one.
Um,
Yeah.
but I liked that it was like present enough where you got like the hockey games, you got some hockey practice, you got the
Yeah.
hockey house. Um,
Mm-hmm. The team.
and then I have to mention, because we are doing hockey right now and we're not doing the book, but Not an Outcast is one of my favorite hockey books by
Mm-hmm.
Tijan. It's actually like one of my favorite hockey books. Cheyenne and Cutler are like beyond amazing, and Megan has not read it, and she needs to read it.
I know. I might. Yeah. I might.
I won't give anything away, but okay, that would be, I guess I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna say that is my hair of the
I
book
thought
because
I read it. In
it's
my defense, I
amazing.
thought I
And I
read it,
think because
but
Cheyenne
it was
has
on
stuff
Kindle
going
Unlimited.
on,
I didn't.
she
Mm-hmm.
has family issues, she has things
Mm-hmm.
she's dealing with personally, and like Cutler is that person that like sees that like the rumors aren't fully true, and hey, like why did this
Mhm.
happen back in the past, and like oh like he's that person that's willing to like be there for the ups and downs. And I love them, and I love Cutler's mom so
That
much
sounds
because
good.
she's like this sweet
Ooh.
lady, and then she shows up at the hockey games, and she's kind of like me, where it's like all quiet and sweet, and then all of a sudden she's like, "You cut them, you get them," and I'm like, "Yes, I love his mom so much." Anyways, Hockey with
Mhm.
Benefits, Hair the book, not an Outcast. You have to read it. It's good.
And I'm going to read it. I'm going to.
I love it.
Yeah. Okay. And we are going to go to a Polycon and we are going to meet
Yes.
Tijan. And I'm going to ask her, please pronounce your name for me. Please pronounce it. Because I always said Tijan for years, and you're like, no, it's Tijan. I'm like, that's probably right.
Well, okay, and I'm saying it's Tijan just because of
I think it's Tijan. I
audiobooks.
think
That's
you're
what they
right.
say in the audiobook.
That's what they say. That makes
So if
sense.
that's
That
correct,
makes
then
sense.
that's what it is.
I think you're right. I think you're right. So I'm excited though. I'm so
I'm excited.
excited to get to meet her in person.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
Happy reading, everybody. See you next time.
Bye.